What up, Solar Pros? Another episode of The Pursuit coming at you. I'm your host, Josh Holland. Today's guest is my dog.
Oh, boy.
My boy, Tanner Sorenson. What's up, dude?
What's up, dude?
Excited to have you on, man. Thanks for coming out.
No, thank you. It's good to be here.
Dude, can't say enough good things about Tanner. He runs the Prime region, so he's a regional here at Pros. These guys are animals. Prime, just so you guys know, they did just over 1,000 installs, 1,025 right there, which is, 1,000 installs in solar, dude, is no joke. Like it's definitely a milestone to do, and at Pros, it's crazy, like how competitive it is. Like if you're getting 1,000, like you're in that top tier. So
for sure. Well, I think it's great. Outside of our network, it's like, yeah, 1,000's great. Here, I'm like, it's not even that good. I'm like, bro, we're like falling behind.
Yeah.
Like we've got so many people we're chasing, but it's fun. It's the place to be though.
What did you guys think transitioning over to Pros? Because previously at Sunder,
yeah,
transitioning over to Pros, what did you guys think as far as like where you guys would stack up?
That's an interesting question. I think we came over, like we got humbled quick. I'll admit it.
Really?
We got humbled pretty quick. Yeah.
Dude.
Like we like it's when we were at Sunder, like we won everything. Like we were always the top of the leaderboard, competition, you name it. And then we come over and we heard like these groups of like, Relentless and Havoc and these guys that were making noise and or Evolve, right?
Yeah,
like I remember being in group threads with like you and Cam and whatnot and just talking crap, but it was, we got humbled fast, but it's like I'd rather have it be that way because it's like, dude, there's zero complacency. There's no room for it.
Dude, that's funny. I remember at the banquet, you guys had just come over and we had gotten top region that year, and you and Brandon were in me and Cam's ear. Like, flapping a little bit.
A little bit,
like,
yeah.
Hey, that if you counted our number, like,
we would have been on top. Like you guys would have been number 2, but
I was like, hey, I like these guys, dude. This is what I like to see. That was fun. Dude, I think you have a great story of consistency. It seems to be like a theme for you. Chatting with you, I've known you and gotten to know you a lot better, especially this last year. But it seems like consistency is really like what makes you you. And so I want to dive into that of, how does Prime get created? How is it progressing? And then like some of the challenges and things that you've gone through as a leader. And really just kind of dive in all things Tanner Sorenson.
Yeah. Wherever you want to go with it. But no, I honestly, consistency is probably the one thing that I try to pride myself on the most. Like I'll be the first one to admit I've never been the most talented guy in the room. I don't think I'm anything like special when it comes to like pure talent.
Yeah.
But what separates me is just the willingness to show up every day, and that's kind of how it's been from the get go. Like jumping into door to door, I wasn't an overnight success. Like halfway through my rookie year, I thought I was actually going to quit, probably like most people do, But I think one thing that I've learned is consistency truly does compound, and you don't see it in the moment, but like 5 years down the road, you look back and you're like, oh, dang.
I'm glad I kept doing that.
For sure, 100%.
That's great. So take us back. So you started in door-to-door in 2017.
2017.
From South Jordan, Utah.
I grew up in South Jordan. My wife from South Jordan as well. We've been married almost 9 years.
Let's go.
Never thought I'd get into door-to-door. I got home from my mission, got married to my wife, and then it was my dad's a dentist. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to go be a dentist like my dad. And a year into those classes, I was miserable. I was like, dude, this is not for me.
Really? Just right off the get?
Right, yeah. So it was probably like the spring of 17. I was like knee deep in biology and chemistry. And I was like, I'm not happy. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I was married. And so like, I wasn't just a single dude. If I was a single dude, I would have just dropped out and figured something else out. But I was like, I got to make money. and I've got to have a plan B. And so it was the first time I thought about sales, and it was really just like a means to an end. It was like, I need to get a skill set.
Yeah.
And so I had a buddy whose brother was at Vivint. And so that was kind of how it started, and got connected. I was like a lay down recruit, went out for the summer. I didn't know anybody besides him. I left my wife in Utah. She was finishing up school that summer.
I don't think people understand how big of a challenge that is right there.
Leaving your wife?
Leaving your wife.
Dude, if I had a rep that came to me and said that was their game plan, I would honestly probably try to talk them out of it and be like, hey, dude, well, let's figure a way out to get your wife, because it is tough.
It's so challenging.
And especially when, like, my rookie year, when I didn't know, like, I hadn't knocked a door, didn't go on a blitz, like, it was hard, you know?
Dude, you're newly married.
We were married for about a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like still,
Yeah.
like it's still so fresh.
For sure. But it was, I was just committed. I was like, dude, I've got to go provide. I've got to go figure out a way to go, you know, like I have these goals and I need to go get the skill set.
What was your dad? What was his opinion on that?
He was supportive.
Oh, cool.
100% supportive. Yeah. Like they were all about it. I don't think they knew just as much as me.
Really?
You know? But my perspective for sure changed, just as far as how I looked at things. I mean, once you're in the sales world and you see these guys that are making doctor-like money in just a few months, like your eyes are opened.
Totally.
And I think that's what, like, I didn't make buku bucks that year, but my perspective for sure changed. And like I looked at the opportunity and like I think just looked at myself differently.
Yeah.
Where it's like, dude, I can go make something happen.
That's sweet.
You
dude.
know.
So first year with Vivint, where'd you go?
It was Valencia, California, so like North LA. Okay. So knocked Bakersfield, Palmdale, Lancaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was
I mean, so you said you didn't make buku bucks. What was that first summer look like?
As far as earnings?
Yeah.
Dude, probably like it's funny because there's guys that make money and they think they I probably made $22,000. However, I didn't net that. Like I was buying people out of their contracts. I had a checkbook and I was writing people checks, like buying accounts at like
as a first year rep.
Jeez. But I was just competitive.
Yeah,
I was like, I can't bagel today, you know? And so that was my mindset, you know? So the first 2 months of the summer, I did decent. Like I wasn't the best, for sure wasn't the worst. Like I was like pretty good. And then July hit, bageled probably the whole month.
Wow. And
I was like seriously on the verge of quitting. Like poor me mentality. Like I was just a victim.
What was your head at there? Like, you know, you're saying poor me and like this victim mentality. Like, because I think when that happens, you justify everything.
Yep.
You know, versus like kind of owning and taking accountability. It's really hard for people to do. Maybe walk us through that.
I think my mindset, like that summer, I was just so attached to the results. You know? And so
what do you mean by that?
For example, like my emotions, people say this job is a roller coaster. It's not a roller coaster. Like we're the roller coaster.
Yeah.
So my wife that summer, she, like I promise you, like I'd call her at the end of the day. She would know whether I had a good day or bad day.
Just like the first little bit.
Just by the tone in my voice.
Yeah.
And then, and so it was just up and down and up and down. And then that summer, I finished the summer off on a good note. And then going into my second year, I'll tell you, like the biggest thing that changed is like I learned I didn't let my happiness be dictated by whether I sold or not.
Wow.
So
that's powerful, man.
No, so I literally was like, hey, you know, divorce the outcome, marry the process. And even to this day,
write that down.
Even to this day, like my wife, she doesn't know, like, I mean, she probably doesn't even know we installed 1,000 accounts. Like I just I don't let myself get too high or get too low with it, unless she asks, right?
Yeah.
But like that was the biggest thing, like the biggest, I think, shift that I had from year 1 to year 2.
Dude, I think that the self-awareness that takes, I mean, I don't feel like I really understand. I mean, even to this day, dude, I'm still I can get so caught up in trying to control outcomes.
Yep.
And you're just squeezing, holding on to them. And it's like, dude, you can't control that at all. You can only control your input into the thing.
Just your attitude, your effort, and just being satisfied with that.
But even then, you're like, yeah, I can control those things, so I'm going to do all of that. So if I do all that, then I should for sure get this.
Yep.
And then when it doesn't, that's such a hard thing to learn. Like, do you feel like that was just easier for you to understand, or like what got you there?
I think just experience.
Yeah.
Like I think over time, like I did, it wasn't just like one day I was able to figure it out. And I'm still not perfect at it.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, just over time, and I think probably just because I really did go down like a deep, like I was like rock bottom.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like people don't like, but like I'm so grateful for it because I can empathize with reps. Mm-hmm. Like there's some guys that are just naturally good at this job, and like you honestly question if they ever had a bad day, right?
Totally.
But like I have a rep that's struggling. It's like, dude, I've been there. I know what you're going through. You're talking to me about quitting, bro. I almost quit.
Yeah.
Like I know what you're like. I feel you, bro.
It's powerful.
And so it's one of those things that you wish didn't happen and you didn't have to go through, but you're so grateful you did.
Isn't that funny how it always ends up being something like that with enough time? Mm-hmm. You know, like no matter how big of a deal it is, with enough time, it ends up being like something that's great.
Yeah.
You know, you look back at it and you're like, man, I'm so glad that happened. I wouldn't be who I am now if that wouldn't have happened.
Oh, for sure.
Sounds like 2018 was kind of an extension of that for you, though, like a lot of a change in mindset.
Yeah, and I think it just like the snowball just started to roll. I think, you know, thinking back on like my career, like there's like I think like certain breakthroughs and like kind of pivotal moments. And I think 2018 for sure, like if the 2018 summer didn't happen, I don't think I'm sitting in this chair.
Really?
Like really though. For two reasons. Like it was the year that I think there's something to be said about doing what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Like I did a training a couple weeks ago with the team and I asked them, hey, in this job in door to door, what's the best feeling in the world? Like what's the best feeling you can feel? And the obvious answers, people are like, oh, dude, like getting a same day, making your first big paycheck, getting a 3 spot. And I was like, no, you're wrong. Like the best feeling is just doing what you say you're going to do. Like Ed Milet says, you know, you gain confidence by keeping personal commitments.
Yeah.
And so it was 2018, I was bound and determined to sell 150 alarms. The previous year, my rookie year, I sold 48. And so tripling my production, but as a sophomore at Vivint, 150 is kind of the number to hit. Like if you do that, you're taken seriously.
Yeah.
Like when you speak, people listen. And so
was that important to you?
I think so, because I felt like my rookie year, I felt like I underperformed.
Okay.
And so I had a chip on my shoulder.
I love that.
You know, like I was like, dude, like I bageled the whole month of July. Like, dude, I know I'm better. And so I was like, I got to go prove it. You know, I was competitive. Going into that year, though, I was bound and determined. Left my wife in Utah again. She was working at this time, and so went out and just it was a grind. And it came down to like the very end of the summer, in September extension. Everybody's left. You know, I already hit my money goal. Like I already made the amount of money that I wanted to make,
but just not the accounts.
Just didn't do the accounts. Like everybody, and people even ask me, like, dude, you've already made the money. Like, why don't you just go home? And it was seriously just because I said I was going to do it, you know?
That is powerful, man. Yeah.
And like, dude, like my wife probably would have loved me more. I hadn't seen her in 6 weeks, you know, like my managers weren't even there, so they wouldn't have thought any less of me.
Yeah.
But I tell you, like the day that I hit that last account, had my car packed up, drove back to Utah. I'm like in tears. I'm like emotional, just satisfied, grateful. And it was like from there on, like there was like this different swagger that I had, you know, it's like, dude, I did what I said I was going to do. Like no matter the obstacles, the adversity, like I did it. And just a different confidence I think happened from doing that alone. And so,
dude, what's interesting about that is, you can't like trick your own subconscious mind in a way of like, I think so often like when we say we're going to do something and we don't do it, and maybe we only even made that commitment to ourselves, like we didn't even voice it.
Yeah.
Say you don't do that thing and only you know, you might not even be thinking about it, but like subconsciously I feel like we know. And when you do that enough, I think you just are going to inherently have low self-confidence.
For sure.
And
You're lying to yourself.
Yeah, and then you're wondering why. And you're kind
Yep.
of blind to this. It's like, dude, you didn't keep any of these previous commitments, so why would you keep this one?
100%.
That's tough. So like that probably meant so much to you because of, we've all made commitments and not kept them, but you were like firm on that one,
Yeah.
and it was a big deal to where you even extended, and you did just a little bit more,
Yep.
hit it, and then now here we are, somewhat, all these years later, and we're looking back at 2018, and you're like, that was the year for me.
Yeah.
Where everything shifted. Imagine if you didn't do that.
No,
You know what I mean?
and
It's like you're almost like gut wrenching.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. Like when I tell you, like I might not be here, like I genuinely mean it.
Wow.
And I think you said it, it's just I think it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
And people don't look at it that way. Like keeping commitments, whether they're big or small. Stacking the wins, whether they're small or big, right?
Easy to do, easy not to do.
Yeah,
kind of
and
thing.
it just becomes a habit, and it just compounds, right? But the second reason why that year was so pivotal. I'm big on relationships, and I truly believe that this industry is ran by relationships. So that end of the summer, I was in a hotel finishing off the extension in Hollister, California for 2.5 weeks. And there was me and one other guy, and that dude was Brandon Wilson.
Let's go.
And up to that point, me and Brandon didn't really know each other that well. Like that was his rookie year. We sold on the same team, but like, I was kind of like this lone wolf, if you will, like just went out and hucked deals and whatnot. Brandon stayed out, and he didn't have a good start to the first half of the summer, and then he kind of caught up on the second half, and so he was trying to hit his goals, I was hitting my goals, and we just bonded, and that's kind of like where we formed our relationship, like kind of the foundation. So fast forward to today, like I don't think Brandon gets me to come out to Houston if it wasn't for those 2 weeks.
Totally.
So yeah, 2018 summer was big.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, it's always interesting to look back at those. I just wish sometimes we knew how crucial these moments were. Because then I feel like we would act on them more.
Oh, for sure.
I think that's like the beauty of it is
Yeah.
like you don't know what it's going to lead to. You don't know what having a good attitude going into that one relationship looks like in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
You just never know. So like how you do anything is how you do everything. Like show up for every moment kind of thing, and just make it do your best you can right there. And years later, there's just all these different compound effects that we keep talking about. Dude, that's really cool. Like for those of you guys who don't know, like Brandon is one of the VPs at Pros over the Alpha division, which is just crushing it. We had him on last year, and such a great dude. So your guys' bond, I can tell, is just deep, dude. Like, and it is crazy how you pick your people in this, and it has so much to do with your success and their success if you're strategic and you pick the right people.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
No, 100%. I mean, dude, you can't do it alone.
You can't.
Like you can't. Like you have to. Like if you want to go, like what do they say? Like if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
And that's truly how it is. And like that's why I say like this industry is ran by relationships. It's a relationship business. We're in the people business. We just happen to sell solar.
Totally.
So that's how it is.
So take us past that. So 2018, massive year, rolling into maybe.
So 2019.
Okay.
Dude, so I was always like I lacked vision.
Yeah.
Early on, like probably most do.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody just like jumps into this thinking they're going to do this for 10 years and or no one's like in elementary school saying I want to be a door-to-door salesman when they grow up, and so I was always like the year-to-year rep. And once I kind of hit that feed of like 150, there was like, it was kind of like, okay, well, what's next? And because I didn't have a vision of like growth and beyond that, like it honestly was like, it was kind of like I was physically there, but mentally I wasn't. And I graduated, I got my degree that year, and I was like, okay, well, let me put fillers out and see if they're like what the real jobs look like.
Because now I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Oh, sorry, you're saying real jobs like outside door to door.
Yes, outside
Gotcha.
the quote unquote real jobs.
Yeah.
And so right before that 2019 summer, I get a job selling dental equipment. And it was like a base salary of $60K, car allowance, benefits. And what's so backwards about society is the previous summer I made over $100,000 in 4.5 months. I got more praise getting this job offer than what I'd done the previous year from like family, friends, like people outside of door to door.
Wow.
Just like when you think about it, it's so backwards, you know?
What was the income like that?
It was a $60,000 salary.
It's just,
Yeah.
you just made 100 and
in the previous summer.
wow.
And so, but like to society that, you know, that job is like, oh, you're successful, right? Like it's a career or whatnot. And so I decided to take that job. Within 2 minutes, I was miserable. Like I hated it. But it honestly, like it kind of took me doing that to realize what I had. And same for my wife, because my wife never went out to the summers with me. And so she even told me, she's like, babe, we sacrifice more by not going on the doors than when we do on the doors,
Wow.
you know? And so
that's freaking money, dude. That's
no, 100%. So like when we had that conversation, I was like, bet, like we're going back, you know? And so I was at that point, it was like towards the end of the summer, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to transition back to Vivint. We're going to run this back, do blitzes. And you know how it is. Like they love you until you're gone. Right. And so I remember calling everybody, like all my contacts, like my leaders and whatnot. Nobody returned my phone call except for one person. Guess who it was?
B. Wilson.
B. Wilson. And at this point, he's just a rep, right? Like
Yeah.
he had a good second year, but he's just a buddy, right? And he's like super self-aware. He's not like, oh, I'm not, like Tanner's not going to come work for me. Like that's how he thought at the time. But anyways, I come back to Vivint. We were going to go run it out. We were doing preseasons, everything. And then the solar bug kind of bit us.
Yeah.
You know? And so, long story short, we met with Sunder. Brandon ends up, this is right before COVID. Brandon ends up dipping. He goes to Texas all by himself. And I thought he was crazy. I was like, bro, like what? Like I'm coming back after like missing out on a few months. And so I'm like, dude, I know Vivint. Like this isn't a gamble. Like I know I'm going to go sell 200 plus accounts this year. And so Brandon went off. I stayed at Vivint. I had a great year, and then Brandon was crushing it. And then I had zero intent of leaving Vivint until this was like the beginning of 21. And I had a really good buddy of mine. He came to me and was like, hey dude, I think this is the time solar's the move. Let's go run it up at Sunder with in SoCal. And he's like, we'll split everything 50-50. We'll be partners. We've got these lead setters. Let's go run it up and go blow it up. And I don't know what a kilowatt was. Don't know what PPW stands for. Didn't ask about overrides. But the way that my mind works, I'm like, I've got to go figure out solar ASAP. So I was on the next flight out to California by myself. And I had a house in Utah at the time. But I signed a 1-year lease in Irvine before I ever knocked a door.
Wow.
And then I went and started blitzing and started knocking. So I was just committed. Like I was like 100% like, dude, ships are burned. Like we're going to go figure this out. Within 2 weeks, that buddy of mine that I thought I was partners with, turns out he was partners with somebody else.
Oh no.
And he kept all this margin on me. And so I'm like figuring solar out. Like I'm getting deals. I'm signing people. Like I'm knocking with reps. And then I find all this out and I'm like, oh, like I just felt like embarrassed. I felt like just completely misled. Like this was a really good buddy of mine. And then in that time, he's negotiating to go back to Vivint. And so he was trying to get me to come back to Vivint with him. And I just like stood my ground. I was like, no, dude, like I'm planted here. You know, I've got to.
Wow.
And so my only move was like, dude, I can't go back to Vivint. I just signed a 1-year lease.
Got to get it done.
I just got to go figure it out. And so I put my head down and I worked. I was a lone wolf once again, you know. But hindsight's 2020. Like it was the best thing for me. Like,
What'd you learn?
Well, one, I think jumping into solar, I think this is my personal opinion. I think a lot of guys in the industry, they come to solar one for the money, or two because they want to stop knocking doors and they want appointments and they just want to be in homes, and they kind of lose the dog in them.
Totally, dude.
Like, that's my opinion. For me, I couldn't lose the dog. Like, I probably would have had I had 20 setters, but I didn't have setters. I was like, dude, I got to go figure this out. And so kind of to what I brought up like earlier, it's like, dude, now I have, as a leader, I can empathize with reps that don't have appointments. It's like, dude, like there was once upon a time I had to go self-gen all my deals. Like, I've been on the doors. Like, that's how I learned solar. And so it's for sure benefited me, and I'm grateful for it. And that year was amazing. Like, probably one of the highlights of my wife's and I, like our marriage. I was just living in SoCal for 9 months. Made good money. We were pregnant, and so we're gonna come back to Utah to have our baby. And becoming a first-time dad, it was honestly, everybody probably goes through this, where you're like just self-reflecting. You're like, dude, do I have my crap together?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
Dude, there's nothing like it.
Dude, yeah.
It's like it really checks you.
Yeah.
Like, at least it should.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
I feel like if you're wanting to do the right things, becoming a dad should make you like really look inward and be like, do I got my stuff in order?
That's how it was for me. I was like, I knew something was missing. I just couldn't pinpoint what it was. And at the time, the sexy thing in solar was like leads and fast installs. And so I was like looking outward. I was like, oh, that's my solution. And I quickly realized it wasn't. But I was listening to a podcast one day, and somebody posed this question of like, hey, imagine your funeral and you're able to witness your funeral service. Like, how many people are there? You know, are there empty seats? Is it standing room only? And like, that's an indicator of like the impact that you made in your life. And it was like the first time in that moment that I realized, I was like, dude, if like I haven't made an impact, like I haven't made a dent at all. And up to that point in my career, I was always just like this lone wolf. And that was kind of that was like my identity. Yeah. You know? And I think identity is like it's something that people don't talk about enough, but it's truly powerful for good or for bad.
Precedes behavior.
Yeah. No. And so that was the narrative of me at Vivint. Like, people were like, hey, Tanner's great. He's a great rep. He sells a lot. He'll help out, but he doesn't recruit, so he's not a leader. He's a year-to-year guy. And I didn't get offended by that. I just like, that was the reality. Like, that's what I looked at.
Some guys take pride in that.
Yeah. So, and I mean, that's just how it was. And so as far as leadership or management, like, it was never in my vocabulary. I never thought of it like that. But at this time, I was like, dude, I want to go make an impact. Like, I want to go serve. I want to go help people. I want to go play like a small part in someone else's success.
Did that start small, or was it like pretty big out the gate? You're like, man,
I think it was small. It was small at first. And then at this time, it was just the exact same time. Ironically enough, Brandon's in my ear. He's out in Houston. And he's like, dude, I need you out in Houston. Come help me. You're a phenomenal leader. You're going to be a regional manager. And I'm just like, bro, like, we're homies, but you don't need to gas me up like that, you know? But he kept saying it, you know? And I was like, dang, he believes it, you know? And I went out to Houston. I saw the opportunity. And like I said, I just wanted to make an impact. Like, I realized, hey, dude, it doesn't matter if I make $100,000 or $500,000. Like, my life doesn't change too much, but like, I want fulfillment. Like, that's what I want out of this job, because I've done it for 4+ years, and like, I've made money, but like, it'll come and go. And I mean, it's easy to say that, right? But like, that's truly how I felt. And so Brandon gets me out to Houston, and it's probably the first time in my career that like I didn't really care about money. Wow. Like, I genuinely was just like, dude, I just want to help people. Like, I want to go add value. And I wasn't I didn't expect guys to be given to me or anything. I took four kids from Utah, returned missionaries, my brother, one of them, and we went out, and I just ran it like a summer. I was like, hey, we're gonna have meetings every day. I'm gonna drop you off. I'll pick you up at 9:00. Like, we're gonna go huck. And pretty soon guys took notice. And so like, guys in Houston, and they started, hey, dude, can I come to your meetings? Can I bring my team to your meetings? Can I come shadow you? Can I knock with you? And always the answer was yes. And, you know, over time, like, influence was gained for sure. But that whole year I didn't make any overrides off any of those guys. However, it was the most fulfilling year of my life, like hands down. And just on top of that, it was my highest earning year.
Wow.
Too. So it's like, I truly believe like money follows value. It does. And a lot of guys look at it like, oh yeah, well, I'll only do this if I get cut in. Well, it's like, bro, you're going to it'll come back to you in some way, shape, or form. It might not come back like monetarily or like in this specific overhead stack, but like you will get taken care of.
Dude, it's such a hard thing for guys to process of like, so guilty here of like, dude, I'll add value. Just tell me what I'm going to get paid.
Yep.
And then I'll add the value versus being willing to add value and then be compensated later.
Yeah.
And
it's tough, dude.
It really is.
Well, and I think to my point, like, I think it's because I did kind of hit that rock bottom where I was just like, dude, I'm done being scarce. Like, true abundance is like just giving and not expecting anything in return. And so I was like, that's what I'm going to go do. You know, and I think just the natural man is like a scarcity minded person.
Totally.
And we all are like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it was, I mean, like to kind of bring up Brandon again, like that dude changed the course of my life. Like strictly just because he truly did. He gave me the platform to do that, you know, and you go ask him and he won't take credit for anything. Like he'll be like, dude, it was Tanner did this, Tanner did that. But like Brandon built me up and he talked about me in such a way that I was like, dude, I can't let this dude down. Like I can't make this dude look like a fool. Like I've got to go be the leader that he's telling people that I am, you know? And I think that gets overlooked quite a bit, you know? I think just as leaders, as we all are, of like building people up, believing in people more than they believe in themselves. Because everybody needs somebody like that in their life at some point, you know? And so like to say Brandon, like, I mean, completely, it's an understatement, but completely changed the course of my life.
Dude, that's something that I feel like Alpha or just Tyler Jackson has like cultivated, you know, being connected to that network before he came over and was president of sales is like, it's a reoccurring theme whenever I talk to an Alpha guy of especially the leadership is the power of believing in your people more than they believe in themselves. I think it sounds like he did that with Brandon. Yeah. And then Brandon did that with you. And, you know, you've obviously done it with your people. Yeah. Just very, very interesting to see, like, building someone up, proving that you believe in, because it's one thing to, like, tell them, hey, I believe in you, I think these things. But when you're starting to, like, voice it to other people and put them in position to do the thing that you said, you're proving that you believe in them. Yeah. And that's a whole nother ball game for 100%. A guy. You're like, dang, I gotta, he sees something in me that I gotta step up and do. Yeah. And you get so much more out of your people when you can do that.
No, 100%. No, 1,000%.
Dude, that's super cool. Good on Brandon, man. Just all of you guys. I think that's a strength that you guys have always had, and something that I've taken from just being around you guys is that's so powerful.
Yeah, I know. I think it's huge, and it makes me think too. It's like, dude, like I think there's people out there that have so much ability that just lack a little bit of the confidence, and they might be in a time of their life where it's like they don't have that belief in themselves, but they need a leader that does, you know? And so it's like, dude, I want to go find that next Tanner Sorenson. Yeah. Like I want to go find the next Josh Holland. Yeah. You know? Cause I mean, yeah, dude, I was that guy that needed that. And so, but yeah, no, super, super grateful. Like, yeah, you mentioned Tyler. It's like, dude, that dude, I mean, he sees the best in everybody. Like it's a superpower. Like truly.
I've noticed that with him. So crush it that first year, make more money than you ever have. You're like, sounds like you're really tuned in to being abundant and just adding value. This is 22. Boom, 23 rolls around. We create Prime, baby.
Yeah. So summer 23. So I was running a squad in Houston, and then Chase Armstrong was also running a different team. And so summer 23, we combined. We just joined for sake of numbers to hit regional volume together.
Nice.
And so it was awesome. It was and Chase obviously still works with us. He's like Alpha's like direct trainer.
Yeah.
And so he's doing phenomenal work. Like he's honestly, like if I had that dude's talent, game over.
Yeah.
Like that dude's probably one of the most talented dudes in the home, on the door. Like he's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's amazing. So yeah, joining up with him was a huge blessing. But yeah, I mean there were some bumpy times though, as far as like the transition into the pros.
Yeah.
Like with the Sunder breakup, it wasn't butterflies and rainbows by any means. But
what do you feel like? I mean, I got you guys through that. I mean, I know it was chaos. It was real chaotic.
It was.
And it's so new, and you guys are like kind of your own thing in Sunder. You're come over here like as a group as well. Like now it's like this new culture, and pros is still brand new, you know.
To be honest with you, it took us a long time to kind of get used to everything.
Yeah.
Because also, like, we come over, Tyler's getting sued. He has his TRO, so we're not communicating with him.
Yeah.
We're trying to learn these new pay scales, this new structure, like, what's the lay of the land over here? But over here, it's just go, 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 go.
Yeah.
Like, sell, 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 sell. So we didn't have time to really, like, analyze anything. So it took some time for sure, but I think, I mean, like, things blow over and, like, the dust settles, and but we're super grateful for where we're at, and like we wouldn't have been able to do what we did without the pros platform.
Yeah. Just
the proximity, you know, truly, you know, being around guys like you and the other groups that are pushing us. So I think I don't think we had a ton of time to like really digest all the drama and chaos, just because it's like, dude, we have to go work.
That could have been the best thing for you.
Yeah.
Though,
no, 100%. Like hindsight looking at that, it truly was. But yeah, so 2023 was an awesome year. Like I think there's a lot of lessons learned as well. But dude, there's always lessons learned. But every single year, you know.
It never stops, bro.
But yeah, here we are today.
So let's dive in a little bit to, you know, like your growth in pros and like what that's, I guess, like some of the challenges as a leader. Like it sounds like that, even like that transition over here and being around like, you know, other competition, which you guys weren't used to. You guys would kind of own the space over there. How did that challenge you in your leadership?
I mean, I had to level up. You know, like I had to level up, and like I think you say this, like you're the chokehold of your business.
Yeah.
You know, you are, you know, and so it got me in a place where it's like, dude, I can't be complacent. I can't be content with where we're at. Like I have to level myself up as a leader and like raise that lid. You know, if not, like we're gonna get past. You know, and so I think that's been for sure like a focal point over the last year. And just trying to like bleed that out to the people.
Yeah, I mean, dive into that a little bit. Like, is there anything like you felt like as a leader, you're like, okay, dude, like I just got to get better at this?
Oh man, there's a lot of things I need to get better at. I think if you want me to be vulnerable and tell you kind of like a big thing that I struggled with, probably was like my downfall, I would say. Of probably 23 and 24, that I've really tried to make a focus on as far as improving myself, because I do feel like it holds my group back, and I think I mentioned this on the leadership panel, but as a leader, not taking things too personally, and what I mean by that is like, as a leader myself, it's like, dude, I've always like I want to be liked, I want the boys to like me. You know, I don't want to hurt people's feelings. You know, I want to do good by everybody. And what I've learned is like, dude, you can't please everybody.
It's so hard, bro.
You can't,
yeah.
You know? And so I had a lot of sleepless nights. Like I had a lot of like, I mean, I'm not an anxious person. I don't think I am. But I mean, there were times where I was like, dude, I've never had this much anxiety before over just because I care so much, you know? And so I think leadership is like politics, where it's like, dude, it doesn't matter what you say. People are going to love you. People are going to hate you, you know?
Totally, dude.
So I think just understanding that and doing what's best for everybody. But the minute that you take things personally, you're actually holding everybody back, you know, because it's like you're taking away from your energy, your time that you could be allocating to benefit somebody else. So if I can think about like one thing that, yeah, like one lesson learned, that's the main thing that sticks out to me.
That's freaking money though, dude. Like, just even diving into that, which is like what I love to do, is like, okay, like let's look at what are we actually saying there? It's like, okay, I'm taking something personal. So there's a situation or a decision that needs to be made, or how we're reacting to something, and I have to please some, I have the option to like this side of the business is going to be happy, this side's not, or like just whatever the situation is, and I have to make that hard call. And or I think oftentimes just trying to level up and like increase standards, and like maybe people that have worked with you for a while are like viewing it as like, why are we doing that, or like just there's just all this combination of things that can happen, and you get put in a position, it's like, dude, I just can't win.
No, seriously, it's a lose-lose.
I just can't win. And dude, you know what book helped me with this a ton was The Courage to be Disliked.
Okay.
It's phenomenal. It's so.
I've been reading your Core 4 Leadership.
Dude, that's Alec Miller.
Yeah, that one slaps though.
He's freaking great.
So what's the book?
The Courage to be Disliked.
Courage to be Disliked.
Yeah, because it does take courage to be okay with being disliked.
Yeah.
And when we're wanting everyone to like us, it's mainly out of some type of insecurity, and I'm so guilty
100%.
of this. It's like, Nick Saban says it best, like, if you want everyone to love you, go sell ice cream.
It's true.
Dude, it's like it's never gonna happen. So like, just understanding, like, I don't need you to like me.
Yeah.
I need you to respect me.
Yeah.
And that's more of the aim. And so often like you make a hard decision and your people end up thanking you for it later, versus caving and giving people what they want just so you don't have to have the hard conversation or like resistance. That always leads to a tough spot. Like there's so many times where like I've had reps or guys, they're like, no, we really want to blitz here. And I'll be like, I'm like, I kind of like disagree with it, but like I don't know if I'm confident enough to tell them to go to this area instead of this one.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll let them decide. So if it's bad, I don't have to take the blame for it.
For sure.
And that's bad leadership. It's like, no, dude, you got to own that.
Yeah.
Make a decision, a definitive decision, and own the result, good or bad. Don't get attached to it. It's like, hey, I made a call. It was the wrong call. I'll own it. We'll do better next time, versus just like putting it in their hands. Because then they're going to, if it goes bad, they're going to end up being mad at you either way. Hey, why didn't you guide us? So it's like, you're at a lose-lose. You might as well make your best judgment call and just live with the consequence.
For sure. No, I agree. And I like what you said though. Like it comes from insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Truly. I think so. In 23, there was an experience I had working with a rep that honestly, like, this is where like the root of it was. And kind of like what we've, like the theme of this is like, hey, there's a lot of things that in the moment we wish didn't ever happen. And then looking back a year later, you're like, oh dude, I learned so much from that. Yeah. This is one of those. But he was a vet, like he was a vet in the space. He was an ADT rep, 10 years in the space, been in door-to-door longer than I was, comes over to solar, and Brandon kind of places him with me. However, the dude, he had leadership problems. Like he didn't look at me as his leader, but he looked at me as someone that would teach him how to do solar and teach his guys how to do solar. So I looked at it like
helper. I call it a helper.
Yeah. No, that's kind of how it was.
Oh, that he just helps out.
Like, the kind of the narrative was, I'm renting Tanner to train us how to sell solar.
Yeah.
Like he would tell his guys that. Anyways,
which speaks to his insecurity too.
For sure, 1,000%. But, 6 months working with this guy, and I fall in love with the people, like people that I work with and that I'm in the trenches with them, and like I genuinely care. And I think that's what was so hard is I think, then that's where like my insecurity came out. Cause I'm like, bro, like I'm giving, and nothing's being reciprocated. And that's where it's like, I chose in a time to take things personally. And it held me back so much. Like,
because it changes how you interact
with not just him, but it's not fair to my other leaders.
Yeah.
It's not fair to the other groups that I work with because they're not getting the best tanner.
Yeah.
They're getting this like insecure dude that's taking things personally. So it was something that I had to truly, I've had to work on. But yeah, just understanding that, hey, you can't please everybody and it's fine. If someone doesn't like me, like not everyone's going to like me, but I've got to do what's best for the people and just continue to have that abundant mindset that, hey dude, I'm going to go give, I want to make an impact. I want to go serve and elevate. And typically, things fall into place.
Yeah. That's a great example, dude. Yeah. It's, it really is leadership. Like I always say door to door will put like right when you get on the doors, it'll move a lot of your insecurities right to your forefront and you got to deal with them. And it's
1,000%.
a battle. And that's why everyone wants to quit.
It exposes you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just get put under a microscope.
Yep.
Then you become a leader in door to door. And it's like a whole nother ball game. It's like the same thing, but just like now it's deeper.
Yep.
It's like, oh, my dad treated me like this, so now I respond to situations like this, and it's just so funny.
The thing that I love about this job though is like, it's if you do it right and you stay in the game, like if you keep playing the game, it's all about progression.
Yeah.
And so like as a rep at the rep level, like dude, everybody sucks at first, and then you become a good rep. And then you get into management, you get into leadership, you suck at leadership. Yeah. You're a terrible DM. And then you become a good DM. And then guess what? You get promoted and you're a terrible regional, right? And then you figure it out.
Totally.
And like that's just how it is. But like when you're progressing, you're happy, And there's always going to be problems. Like there's always going to be stuff. Like the one constant in this job is there's a lot of problems, But like progressing, evolving, getting, finding the solutions and getting better is truly fulfilling.
It's refiner's fire, dude. It's like that's what I love about the job, and like why I get so passionate about it is I feel like my purpose on this earth, it's like my mission statement. It's like it's my duty to myself, my family, and God, and those that I lead to do my very best in everything, so I can truly give all that I have. Like I can serve my best ability if I've maximized my ability in each area.
Yeah.
And that really is what this job is linked to, because your impact, your influence, your income all come from you progressing. And it's just like, what more could you ask for in a job that's directly linked to every single facet of what makes a good life? Mm-hmm. It's like, me being a good dad is me being good at my job.
100%.
Me being a good husband is me being good at my job. There's like, it's just life, dude. It's not there's no difference of work Josh, home Josh, gym Josh, finance Josh. It's all the
same.
It's got to be the same, because how you do everything is how you do, how you do anything is how you do everything. Kind of thing. And it's like, man, like what a great job. It's like, dude, like if your purpose is to just progress in this life, then show me another job that requires more of you.
I've had people ask me, and before when I lacked vision and clarity on what I wanted, like, it was always just a year-to-year thing. Mm-hmm. Now, like, I still have people ask me, like, dude, how long are you going to be doing this? Like, how much longer will you be doing the door-to-door thing or whatever? And like, they have no idea. But like, I genuinely, I love this job. Like, I don't despise it. I don't dread it. Like, I wake up every morning, like, amped out of my mind to go work. And if someone wrote me a check for, like, $10 million a day, like, I promise you I'd probably wake up and do the same thing tomorrow. Like, I love it. And I love the people that I work with. And, and if solar just stops happening, well, guess what? We'll go figure something else out. We'll go sell something else, But it's just the opportunity, And to your point, like just the progression and personal development you can't get it anywhere else.
I think if you can tap into your vision that you talked about, like when you've earned it and it's strong enough, you stop feeling like you have to push through the job. I mean, like you're just fighting, you're just like, oh, okay, this next problem, this next one, like, because fatigue makes a coward of all men.
Yep.
And eventually you will break, and
Yep.
eventually you will burn. And you can only push for so long. But if you have vision and you have people that you're aligned with, that's where you get pulled.
Yep.
And
It's almost, you're swimming with the current, not against it.
Yeah, and like if you can, when you tap into that, it's like, whoa, this is so different than anything I've experienced.
And I think there's what you said made me think, like there's a term that's thrown out in door to door quite a bit, burnout.
Yeah. And
I used to be a big believer on it. I used to think I'd get burnout, right? And I think we all have gotten to that point. But what I've learned and what my personal opinion, I think burnout isn't doing too much of something. It's not doing enough of what matters. So it's like you're just not fulfilled. Like you don't have vision, you don't have clarity, you don't have purpose. Like you're just, dude, it's like you're physically there, but mentally and emotionally you're not there. And you're just not doing the things that actually matter. And once you can kind of grasp that, then it's like, dude, like you always have fuel in the tank. Like you can keep going. Like you're never running on low.
Dude, and it's exactly what happens when you have kids.
Yeah.
Your two boys.
Yep.
A year and and the other one's 3 years.
Yep.
Dude, like present, fully engaged Tanner is such a different person than, absent minded.
For sure.
And so like having kids or being married will do, especially 9 years. Like I've been married for 10. We almost have, it's like very similar setup. So I can just relate to you so much as, dude, there's times when you have to push and there's times when you're just pulled.
Yeah.
But it's when you're working with your person and really tapping into what life is, where you can get pulled in abundance.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're not going to have to push every now and then, but getting pulled or called to do more makes those freakouts with the kids, those late nights, those just really hard times with the wife, those hard ass conversations, like worth it.
For sure.
It's like, oh, this is kind of what I signed up for.
No, 100%.
And it's crazy how if you can have that mindset, you can get through some hard shit. But if you don't, that's when it's like victim, me. Yeah. Like what's happening to me? It's all about me, and it's just so hard to break out of that, dude. That's sweet.
I agree.
Tanner, dude, I think to kind of wrap up here, I would love to hear any advice you have for like a up-and-comer guy who wants to be the next you. Like what do you tell that guy? An aspiring manager who wants to go do 1,000 installs. He did 200 last year. Like, what are you telling that guy?
There's a lot. I would probably, if I could tell anybody like starting the job, getting into the space, I would tell them to value relationships, like cultivate relationships, and don't be a taker, like be a giver with relationships, and like it always comes back. And I said this before, but this industry is ran off of relationships. And so you can go far or you can go fast, like just doing it on your own and just going, hey, like, I mean, in this industry, there's a lot of egos, and you've done a training on this. Like ego isn't a good or bad thing. You have to learn how to manage it.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys, they want to go do it on their own, especially early on. It's like, dude, I'm the man. I'm him. I can go do this. The sooner that you figure out that, hey, there's like power in proximity and getting close to the right people. And I think just like getting around people that you trust. Because there's one thing that's very rare in this space, it's trust. Like they say it's gained in drops and lost in buckets.
Yeah.
So when you have someone that you do trust, like, dude, hold on to that. Like you have to cherish that and like cultivate that, like build that relationship. And then you go look back 8 years and you're like, oh dang, like here we are, So that's probably like the one thing that I would say that I don't think gets talked about enough.
Yeah. When you say like, you're talking this pick your people, is there any advice you'd give it? Like, how do you know like that's someone that you want to be by? Is it like, cause I think so many guys get drawn to like high producers,
Yeah.
to, or these performers,
Yeah.
which is so appealing because you're like, oh, I want that. Do you have any advice on like
I think,
how to pick the right people?
yeah, I think over experience, you kind of figure out like everyone's going to be different. Right.
Yeah.
And like everybody will, personality, there's so many egos and different personalities, and like not everybody meshes. Right. But obviously like you want to be around people that inspire you, that make you want to be better.
Yeah.
Like that's I think one key. And so I would say that, like, obviously I think performance is critical, but even it's like, dude, like for my leaders, it's like, dude, I don't need Tyler on the doors. Like I don't need Brandon Wilson on the doors right now, but it's like, he's there and he inspires me. And, if I call, he answers, and I trust him. I think that's the biggest thing. So I think over time and experience, like guys will see like, hey, what they value and what's important to them. For me, just trust is one of those biggest things. And then once you kind of have that figured out, like just attaching yourself to it. I think so often guys are just, the grass is greener, where can I get the sign-on bonus, there's zero accountability. There's zero ownership in like their current situation, and it's always the company's fault. When in reality, it's like, dude, you've got to like, you can't build a relationship with somebody over like one summer. Like you need time, and that eventually compounds. And so if you want to build anything big, like attach your wagon to somebody that you trust and go build something, and be patient.
Patience.
Yep.
Yeah. Seems like it's that saying of like, take advice from somebody who's doing the thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, I even think about you, like what's inspiring about your story is like, dude, you had to start over from scratch. And like the minute that you saw explosive growth is when you attached yourself to Cam and Chris.
Totally.
And not a lot of people have that humility in this space. Like they'll just keep running around in circles and like doing it all over, falling over. It's like, but no, there's power in proximity, like attaching yourself. I think there's so many people that just, they live for like the title and the position and the, all those accolades. And when it's all said and done, it's like, dude, none of that really matters. That's not true leadership. That's not going to get you influence, right? Yeah. It's just going to buy you time. And so, but that's like for you, like that's what's been super inspiring for me is,
appreciate that, dude.
I've seen your story and I'm like, dude, I need to buy, like it's even made me like, dude, I need to buy into Alpha more. Like, I don't think there's one guy that's more bought into Evolve than Josh Holland. Like truly. And so like, I've seen this. I'm like, bro, like that's why Relentless did what they did. Because Josh wasn't just bought into Relentless, he was bought into Evolve.
Totally.
And I was like more so just focused on Prime this last year. I was like, bro, like I need Alpha, like screw Evolve. Like,
yeah.
We need Alpha up there, Yeah. So that was a huge breakthrough for me this last year, realizing that.
Dude, good stuff, man. I appreciate the compliment. Thank you.
Of course.
Ask Cam Gray took a long time for me to come around to that, dude. Years. I mean, I've known Cam for 16 years, dude.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to beat Big Brother.
Yeah.
But when he does 700 a month and I do 80, it's like, okay, I guess he's doing something a little better.
Yeah.
So it I wish it was as simple as like, I just see, so like I just come to this realization. It was like I waited until I was just like pummeled.
Really?
To like be like, okay.
What year was that? 23, 22?
The end, June of 23. Mm-hmm. So we restarted. That's were like
crazy.
Yeah, we always joke like the fake VPs. It was these guys that when pro started, it was like
Everybody, their wives were VPs.
Yeah, it was just like, oh yeah, come on over. Like if you do, Slider was like, if you do the production, then sure.
Yeah.
And so we were like, yeah, like we'll do it, no problem. Even though we just had to restart, but we started recruiting, and it was insecurity of wanting to expose our people to other leadership because it meant that we weren't the ones adding the value.
Yeah.
And we were scared because we just barely got these guys. We didn't want them to think that like
there's another layer or whatever.
Sure, or just like there was power in like being the top guy, of like in recruiting, and it was just so many limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Stacked on top of each other that eventually it was just like, man, I'm actually offering less to my people because I'm insecure rather than being like, these guys are doing things that I'm not. Let's get on board with them. That opened me up to have more time, and it allowed my people to be exposed to the proximity thing.
Yeah.
And then I felt like I was so bought into getting them to where they wanted to go, that they wanted to get me to where I wanted to go. And I've instilled that same thing with my guys. Like, I want to be so bought into like our leaders and getting them to where they want to go, so they do it to their people, and like a culture of it.
I love that.
So, but yeah, dude.
I love that.
Good stuff.
That's good stuff. Good stuff right there.
Tanner, man, I really appreciate you coming on.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like this was such good.
Hopefully it was good.
Dude, I feel like just your experience and, dude, like, I just hope people understand, like 1,000 installs in 2024 with where solar, like what solar's been through. Bro, you could count them. You could count it, like probably outside of pros, like maybe on one hand of like networks that are actually doing that. So it's like just phenomenal what you've done.
But all that said, and I humbly say this, like all that means is like, dude, I'm surrounded by a lot of good people.
For sure.
Like a lot of good dudes, like the Leighton Hickses, the Jared Bruffs, the St. Termitites, Chase, obviously Brandon, Zeke, like, dude,
totally.
There's, like and dude, we haven't done anything yet. We've got to keep going.
Well, celebrate a little bit, dog, because you guys have done so phenomenal, and I love the fact, even like that I pointed at you to give you some credit, and you're instantly like, but it's only because of all these guys, which is so true.
Yeah,
just tells me that, like, I mean, that's just evidence to me that that's why it's happening, and like, I mean, you do represent Prime, but like, dude, that's why, like, you're bought into your people. You recognize their value, and you can't lift 1,000 accounts alone. You can do it with all of them, and you guys can do more together. That is, I think, what the sauce is at pros, and just in building dynasties or teams in general. It's like more people lifting more, not a couple people lifting everything.
Yep,
it just doesn't work. You know what I mean?
100%.
But my man,
I love it.
Hey guys, go find this guy on Instagram, follow him. You see him golfing with his boys, and reach out. I think that there's very few people that have even eclipsed that in pros, like to hitting the 1,000 account mark. So go find our boy and give him a shout.
Awesome, thanks, bro.